happened to your arm?
Oh, this? Well, it's actually a funny story. I got a splinter yesterday, and it was so deep, my mom had to go in and dig it out.
Ow, I'm so sorry. Wait, is the Band-Aid actually doing anything though?
I mean, it's covering it while it heals, but the Band-Aid wasn't the fix. Getting the splinter out was.
Right, because if you just slap the Band-Aid over it without taking the splinter out.
It would still be in there, and probably get infected, and ew.
Okay, that's kind of exactly what we're talking about today.
My splinter?
No, the covering up. A lot of us do that with things that hurt. We try to look fine on the outside while something's still stuck on the inside.
That's actually real.
But Jesus doesn't just cover things up. He heals, like actually heals.
And not just physical stuff either.
Right. Hearts, emotions, shame, guilt, fear, things that don't show up on an x-ray but hurt just as much.
That's our main point today. Jesus heals me.
And when Jesus healed people in the Bible, it was never just about the physical part. It was about showing that he had power over everything. Sickness, fear, shame, sin, all of it.
And every time he healed someone, he'd say something like, "Your faith has made you well."
He connected healing with trust, with coming to him and believing that he could actually do something.
So, before we get into the story, here's a real quick question. Is there something in your life that feels broken? Something you wish Jesus would heal?
Making sure your hands are clean before you put food in your body, well, that's one thing. But what's more important than being physically healthy is being spiritually healthy. To understand what makes us spiritually healthy, we gotta also understand what makes us spiritually unclean. Jesus actually explains what makes us spiritually unclean in Matthew chapter 15, verses 17 through 20. He says, "Surely you know all the food that enters the mouth goes into the stomach. Then that food goes out of the body. But what a person says with his mouth comes from the way he thinks. And these are the things that make him unclean. Out of the mind come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, stealing, lying, and saying bad things against other people. These things make a person unclean. But eating with an unwashed hand does not make him unclean." In other words, Jesus is saying that sin comes from the inside out, not so much the outside in. What we consume on the outside can affect our hearts, but what we need to be careful of is our minds and keeping our minds free from sin. Because from our thoughts, our actions follow. We were all born with sinful thoughts and want what we think is best for us. But it's up to us to choose to ask Jesus to clean our hearts and our minds so that we can go and sin no more. So that's our challenge, and it starts today. Whenever we find ourselves thinking impure thoughts, we can stop what we're doing and pray to Jesus. We can ask him to clean our minds of these sinful thoughts. After we pray to Jesus, we can choose not to sin and instead enjoy our new life with Jesus at the center.
One day, Jesus was walking through a huge crowd. People were everywhere, talking, laughing, pushing closer and closer to see him. But hidden in that crowd was a woman who had been suffering for 12 years. She had gone to doctor after doctor. She spent all her money trying to get better, but nothing worked. And because of her sickness, people said she was unclean. That meant she couldn't go to the temple. She couldn't be around others. No one could touch her. For 12 years, she had been alone. But she heard that Jesus was nearby, and she thought to herself, if I could just touch his clothes, I will be healed. So quietly, she moved through the crowd, step by step, closer and closer, until finally she reached out and touched the edge of Jesus' robe. And instantly, everything changed. The sickness stopped after 12 long years. She was finally healed. Jesus suddenly stopped walking. He turned around and asked, "Who touched me?" The disciples looked confused. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. Everyone denied it, and Peter said, "Master, this whole crowd is pressing up against you." But Jesus knew something had happened. He felt healing power go out from him. The woman came out of hiding. Trembling, she stepped forward and told him her whole story about the terrible sickness she had been dealing with for 12 years. Jesus looked at her with compassion and said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." In that moment, Jesus didn't just heal her body. He welcomed her as a daughter, he made her clean, and he set her free. Jesus still heals and frees people today. He welcomes us into his family. And when we feel hurt, lonely, or afraid, Jesus invites us to come close and trust him. Because when we have faith, Jesus can heal us and set us free.
12 years, that's a long time to be suffering with no answer.
She tried everything, spent everything, and kept getting worse.
And then one moment with Jesus changed all of it.
But pay attention to what Jesus said. He said, "Your faith has made you well."
It was Jesus' power that healed her, but there was a part that she played too. She came to Jesus to ask him for healing. This took boldness and faith.
It did. She could have stayed home, told herself she was too broken or too far gone for Jesus to even notice her.
But instead, she pushed through the whole crowd just to get to him. And that's faith. She knew two things. That one, she couldn't solve her own problem. And two, that if she could get to Jesus, everything would change. She knew that with Jesus, anything is possible.
And look at how Jesus responded. He didn't just fix the physical problem and move on. He called her daughter. He told her to go in peace. He restored her inside and out.
Because that's what Jesus does. He doesn't just patch things up on the surface, he actually frees you from the inside.
So when we say Jesus heals me, we mean all of it. Anxiety, shame, sickness, guilt that won't go away, feeling like you're not enough.
Yeah, Jesus knows how you feel, and he has the power to heal it.
And here's the key. The woman's healing started when she decided to bring herself to Jesus. That's where it begins for us too.
Not when you feel ready, not when you've cleaned yourself up. Just come to him as you are and trust that he can do something no matter what you're facing.
Sometimes healing is instant. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes Jesus can work through a doctor, a counselor, or someone in your life.
And look, we live in a broken world. Life won't always be perfect here, but that's exactly why this matters. When we bring our faith to Jesus and invite him into the broken places, he can do things we never thought possible. That's who he is. He doesn't stop being a healer just because the world is messy.
And healing might not always look like what we expect. But here's what we know. Jesus sees you, and he's with you in it. And one day, God will make everything new. Every broken thing made whole. But Jesus wants to show up for you right now too. So every day we come to him with our faith. We trust him with what we can't control, and we watch him work.